What is up, everyone? It is Tuesday night. It is the best night of the week that doesn't have football actually being played, right? It is time for TCR Live when we get to hang out with what I think is, in my opinion, the best Cardinals fan community on the interwebs. What do you think, Kyler?
I'm going to second that for sure.
Okay. Yeah, we got a good group of people who are part of our community, who are part of our Discord community. If you aren't already part of that, check out the link below. Cardinals Talk all week. I'm active in there, so you get to kind of, have conversations with me and some of the folks that are in the chat who are very active. Kyler, how are you, good sir?
I'm doing well. Okay. Another long day, but it's always good to cap it off with this, to talk Cardinals. And we've got some good stuff to talk about today, along with the excitement of it's less than a week before the Cardinals take the field and play for an actual win and loss, and we can kick off the 2022 season, see how that's going to go. So it's an exciting time. I love this time. You can feel it in the air. NFL kickoff is in 2 days now. You can feel it, and it's nice.
Yeah, there's an energy, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Well, let me real quick say hey to some of the folks in the chat who are part of that great community that we were just talking about, right? We got Silverwolf, AZ, great support of the channel, great part of the community. 13-4, first round bye. Cards lose the Panthers in the second round. That's a bold prediction on a couple levels, right? The Panthers making it to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
We've got Mark Jackson, 11-12 wins, but lose in the first round. Okay. I like the wins part. Ian Keller, we go 10-7 but win the Super Bowl. That is, I like that. See, that is what I call a spicy prediction, right?
That's
so we're gonna be talking about are the bold predictions mild, medium, or spicy? And that, my friend, that's like some extra picante right there, right? We got Jordan P. We're gonna go 9-8 most like wah, right? Yeah. We've got Dakota Bedard. Thanks for being here. 12-5, our 12-5, 12-2. We're undefeated. Okay. We got D'Lo here. I showed up yesterday, 30. Only realized it was today. Whoops. Thanks for being here, D'Lo. Appreciate you. Also, a very active person in the Discord. Thanks for being here. We have Franklin Carlson, 11-5. I like it. _yo. Thanks for dropping in. We have Grand Eyes. They're always a great supporter of all content creators in the NFL space. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being a great moderator and getting these links in there. Follow me on Twitter. Follow Kyler on Twitter. We've got links to our socials down below. Thank you for doing that. All right. So we prepared some bold predictions, and we prepared some for week 1 and some for the season long. And we've got two for the week 1, 2 for the whole season. So Kyle, we're going to take turns. And as we give our takes, I would love for you in the chat to tell us, okay, Kyler's take here is mild, medium, or spicy. Okay. And same with mine. And then we'll Kyler, as we go back and forth, we'll kind of give our takes to it. We think there's, mild, medium, or spicy. So if it's mild, you're actually undershooting it. Come on, give me the real bold takes. Medium, it's like, okay, it's not that bold, but it's a little bit on the edge. And spicy is like, you know what I mean with that. All right. So Kyler, let's go with the week 1 bold takes. What is your first bold prediction for week 1 against the Chiefs?
Okay, so I'm going to start off what I think is fairly mild. I think this is totally within the realm of reason. It's nothing crazy. But I do think week 1, similar to last year with the Tennessee Titans, Kyler Murray, over 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, wins player of the week right out of the gate. I think he has a really good offensive performance. He's clicking with his wide receivers, and we're going to see him take advantage of a Kansas City team at the right time of the season and against a Kansas City secondary, which isn't any more impressive than ours, really. And I think he's going to take advantage of that. He's going to throw for a lot, and he's going to win, I think, his 6th player of the week.
Okay. So in the chat, do you think that's mild, medium, or spicy? I think that's kind of medium. It's not undershooting. It's not mild. I mean, you're getting that player of the week. Their secondary isn't stellar, but they do have some nice players there. I think we're better at safety. They might be a little bit better at cornerback, depending on what they get out of their rookie McDuffie. I think that
McDuffie's been iffy through training camp and his availability too, his health.
Okay.
So L'Jarius Sneed's, he's okay, and he's been pretty good, but they've got question marks at cornerbacks just like us.
Yeah. So that okay. That could be in order. Okay. So yeah, I think that's probably medium. So what do y'all think? Do you think Kyler's take is mild, medium, or spicy? So Tom Baum saying medium. It might be Pat Mahomes with those stats. Okay, could be. Snead and Fenton are much better than our corners. I mean, I think there's definitely some question marks at both teams, but yeah, right now we'll see. Right. Mark Jackson saying medium. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and give my first bold prediction for the week 1 game. My bold prediction, number 1, against Kansas City, is that the Cardinals hold Travis Kelce in check, less than 75 yards and no touchdowns. I think that between our safeties and Isaiah Simmons, the tight end is an area that we should be good at covering. It's the outside where I think we are more vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to, I'm basing this kind of on the idea that I think Andy Reid will attempt to attack the outside more and less at the tight end because that is our defensive strength.
Okay.
What say you, Kyler? Mild, medium, or spicy?
I think that's actually mild to me.
Okay.
Because I do think with Isaiah Simmons growing, Zaven Collins as well, he's not awful in coverage situations. As the tight end, that's sort of kind of why we drafted him. I think that's reasonable.
See, we already have a little bit of disagreement. See, Jordan says it's spicy. No one can guard Kelce. It's been shown time and time again that Kelce will get at least 10 targets.
You can't deny that Kelce is remarkable. And to Jordan's point, Kelce should be getting a lot of targets right now.
Mm-hmm.
No Tyreek Hill, figuring out a new offense. The wide receivers in Kansas City, they're not a bunch of world beaters anymore. You take Tyreek Hill away, and it really changes that receiver group. But Travis Kelce is tried and true, and he's always going to catch the ball, and he's always going to do something. But I do think we stand a really good chance at holding him in check. I think your prediction's pretty good.
Mark and Grandizer both say mild, and Jordan says spicy. So to me, if I've stirred a pot, I've done a good pick there. So I'll still take that. But
the only thing I would push back on is not the yards, but 0 touchdowns to Kelce. That's kind of spicy.
See, I knew that if I just went the one or the other, it wasn't going to be enough, right?
Yeah, I could see holding the yards, but it is going to be really hard to keep them out of the end zone if they get down inside the 20.
Yeah. Okay, Kyler, what is your next bold prediction for week 1?
For week 1, I've got 2, and I'm debating which other one to talk.
Give us the spiciest one, the one you think is really spicy.
This is spicy. I do think it is.
If it's the one I think it is, this is habanero.
It's also really spicy considering something else that we might be talking about, the depth chart that was released today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind that I came up with this prediction. I wrote this prediction before I saw that depth chart. I do think it is possible that one of the rookie pass rushers has a multiple sack game. I think that's going to be spicy to a lot of people, but my reasoning is this. Let me go into it a little bit. So we don't have Chandler Jones anymore, right? And he's clear cut when you look at a roster, the guy that you pay attention to, the guy that you double team. And we saw that before. It got a lot of opportunity for Marcus Golden on the other side. Now we're in a situation where Marcus Golden's pretty much the only known quantity at all in this pass rusher group. He's the only one that teams have a lot of film on, know what he's going to be able to do. And I'm not saying that he's necessarily going to be double teamed. I'm not sure if he garners that type of respect with offensive line coaches and offensive coordinators, but he will be paid attention to because they know what he is capable of and he's very productive. But Cameron Thomas and Myjai Sanders are completely unknowns on the other side that should be getting rotation time. And I think Myjai Sanders has the best chance of this just because of the physical gifts he has, the twitch, the get off, the bend. He has those abilities that in a game one, without a bunch of other game film to look at, could shock an offensive lineman that wasn't prepared for a rookie out of Cincinnati to beat him around the edge and get to the quarterback. So I do think I'm seeing a lot of spices in there. I did see a medium though.
Jordan P thinks medium because he's a big fan and believer in Myjai Sanders, and which I am a believer in the talent too. He's really good pass rush. Even PFF gave him an 87 grade for the preseason. Will be in on passing downs. It's absolutely possible. I mean, because Vance Joseph is going to rotate guys in, I think.
Yeah.
And he's got the bend and snap, right? And he's really good off the line. The tough part is he's sometimes jumps the snap a little bit and gets flagged, so he needs to work on that. But there's a lot of spicy. Ian says bold prediction, right? Granted, there's some like it hot. Mr. Mono thinks very spicy. VJ doesn't like rookies. We could have the second coming of Lawrence Taylor, and he would ride the bench.
Yeah.
So this is possible, but I think it's spicy, right? So we'll see, but I think that's spicy. Not impossible, but spicy. But I like it, right? I asked for bold predictions, right?
A tiny clarification. When I say multiple sack, that only means 2.
1.5.
Yeah. Okay.
Does 1.5 count?
1.5. If there's a shared sack in there, I get to take credit for this.
Okay.
Because I'm not predicting a 5-sack Chandler Jones Tennessee Titans game. That would be a level beyond spicy, I think. But 2 sacks for Sanders or Thomas.
So you're saying now Jordan P is wanting clarification here. 1 sack from each of the rookies doesn't count, right? It has to be 2 sacks, 1.5 from a single player,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's got to be one. It could be one or the other. I just think Sanders has the better physical tools to take a team by surprise in week 1.
Yeah. AJ's got a good season-long bold prediction. Mullen going to be locked down and Marco going to show the world he's a good cornerback. If that were to happen, that's a world of difference, right? So, yeah. Oh, here's a spicy one. Trey McBride game-winning touchdown.
Oh,
right.
That's spicy. That
is spicy. And then here's another one. J.J. Watt gets a sack and 3 pressures in Kansas City. I think that's solid. It's a good game. I think that's medium.
That's mild to me.
Maybe, the 3. Yeah, I think I could see that as mild. He only had 1 sack last year. We need to get more from him.
That's a total outlier for a player like JJ, though.
Here's another spicy one. Rondale Moore has the most receiving yards of the game. Could absolutely happen, but boy, yeah. And Jordan's talking about here, and I know I've seen on Twitter, he's a real believer. Mullen is going to be locked down. It's 100% mod. His film's impeccable. I've watched all his film. Listen, I love the talent and potential, and I think it was a good trade. He struggled a little bit, but the talent's there. So listen, you want to take chances on those guys. Okay. My second bold prediction for the game is that the Cardinals score 3 rushing touchdowns in this game. What say you? Mild, medium, or spicy? And if Pace Picante wants to endorse this segment, I am open for endorsement deals. So please do reach out.
We could have a Pace segment.
Yeah, I'm not giving away free marketing. Damn it! They're gonna have to give me some money, right?
I would say that is medium.
Okay.
It's not spicy because it definitely could happen. all three of those could be James Conner touchdowns, and that still be medium.
Yeah.
But when you have a group of 5 running backs that you've kept for a reason, it seems like, 2 Connor and Darnell Williams, or
And
even
a Kyler Murray.
right, Kyler Murray. Okay, I didn't even think about that. So you're including Kyler Murray in this.
3 rushing touchdowns.
Okay,
Should I have gone 4? So you think it's medium? Mr. Mild thinks medium. Tom Bomb says mild. Ian's giving me a spicy. I get one spicy out of here. Mark Jackson says mild. I'm gonna listen. I'm Jordan P says medium. Running the ball is key to beating Kansas City. They're the worst rush defense last year. Didn't upgrade interior D line, but 3 touchdowns is a lot. Listen, like I'll take if I elicited a mixed response, I'll take stirring the pot. Right? One bite's spicy, another bite's mild. I guess I don't know.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about Kyler Murray, so you bringing that up, I'll downgrade it to mild. That's easily achievable for a team that's built like this with a quarterback like him. So, and he does seem to run it in a little bit more earlier in the season. So we've seen some multiple rushing touchdown games from Kyler Murray early in seasons. So I'll say that's mild. That could definitely happen.
So here's a bold one. Darrell Williams goes off on his old team. That could be interesting. Yeah. Who knows, right? Byron Murphy gets a pick off Mahomes, but Byron defends against Juju in the slot. Okay. I like that. Real quick, this is my old buddy Doug. I See Guitars plays the song. Doug and I have been in a couple bands together over the years. I've known Doug for like 25, 30 years. Long time. So thanks for dropping in, boring old man. Doug is actually one hell of a singer and musician and songwriter. So, yeah. So I see Christian Matthew getting a pick on MVS. Wow. I'm not sure Matthew's going to even see any playing time, to be honest. But could be, right?
Yeah.
Valdez Scantling. So, okay. All right. So those are our game, but we're going to transition to our season-long bold predictions. And just to give everyone a heads up, I have a fantasy football draft today at 9:30. That's why we started early, and we're going to get out here on time because I want to win that league, and I'm not going to mess around. So we're going to forge ahead and get out of here by 9:30. Real quick, I have a feeling that Mahomes is going to want to prove they still have a potent offense without Tyreek Hill, which means they may force the ball, throw 2 INTs. That's my hot take. I like it. I don't know if Andy Reid's going to want to do that. We'll see, right? So we're going to get into some bold predictions that are season-long bold predictions. So, Kyler, what is your first season-long bold prediction for the Cardinals this year?
Okay, season-long. By season's end, I don't think that there will be any 1,000-yard receivers or 1,000-yard rushers on the team.
Okay.
I just think with D-Hop being out some, which definitely impacts his stat line, and the talent at the other receiver positions, the same with the running back room. I mean, we kept 5. You can only do that if you have a very good reason to do so. I think we're going to be seeing split carries in the running back room, even more than we did with the Chase Edmonds, James Conner situation. So I could see some guys like Brown and Connor getting into the 800s or something like that. Same with Rondale Moore, maybe if he really pops off. But I think there are too many potential ball catchers and ball carriers to pass 1,000 yards by that much.
You're getting some spices right now.
I know. Okay. Zach Ertz, Max Williams, both great pass-catching tight ends. Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch, D-Hop comes back, A.J. Green. James Conner can catch the ball. Eno Benjamin can catch the ball. Darrell Williams can catch the ball. They all run the ball. Who's going to take that much of a majority of receptions to pass 1,000 yards?
Okay. I think that's from somewhere between medium and spicy, because you're going against probabilities. You know what I'm saying? Even though, and as was noted here, like we just went through that season, right? That was the season we just had. So it clearly is absolutely possible, right? Even with a offense that scores points. So I'm going to give you some. I'll go ahead and say spicy, because it's still a low probability, and I get why. I get the arguments, right? So many guys to get the ball to, with DeAndre Hopkins going to be out for 6 games, but when he comes back, he's going to start taking, even if someone was on a pace, he's going to start taking some of those targets back, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's a fair one for spicy, right? Jordan thinks Hollywood will. Kyler's his best friend, deep threat, So here's what I'm going to say. Because we didn't compare hot takes before this, bold predictions before this. So let me just say, because this couldn't have worked out more perfect, because here's what I'm going to say. In 2021, no Arizona Cardinals receiver surpassed 1,000 yards, as we've noted. In the 2022 season, not one but 2 Cardinals receivers will surpass 1,000 yards.
Okay, so
I'm going opposite.
Okay.
Right? I say 2. Now, I think they're going to probably be just barely past 1,000 yards for the reason. Listen, I wrestled with this for the same reason you point out, because the lot of targets out there is a lot, but I think someone's going to get a really big start to the season with Hopkins out. Someone like Hollywood Brown, perhaps, that's going to help sustain them. Like he might. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he came out of that 6 games with like 700 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, just if someone comes out of that 6-game stretch with like 700 yards and just needs to cobble together another 300 yards, and then Hopkins maybe in the second half, or maybe someone like Rondale Moore is just such a consistent part of that offense, kind of like Christian Kirk has been in the past, right? So I think there's going to be 2. So Mark thinks that is spicy, right? So Mark Jackson says spicy. Jordan saying Rondo's the only other one I could see besides Hollywood. Depends on how Cliff uses him. Remember, though, like Hopkins is going to play if he's assuming he's healthy, right? I know that's a big assumption, but if he's healthy, that's 11 games. You don't think Hopkins can average 90 yards for 11 games? No,
it's absolutely possible. I mean, Hopkins could, at the type of player that he is, the almost transcendent talent that he is, people have kind of forgotten about. He could have 1,000-yard season in 10 games. I mean, he is that good. He is that guy. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say that's impossible. But also, is it likely to force the ball that much to him, even though he is just leagues better than everyone else on the field? You still have a very talented receiving group, top to bottom, even without him. Where the Cardinals offense has no excuse to not be remarkably good this year. Hop could average over 100 yards a game, and I wouldn't even blink an eye.
I will say, though, I think these are the 2 that are most likely, right?
I do too. Yeah.
Marquise Brown. Like I said, Marquise Brown coming out of those 6 games with like 700 yards would not shock me at all.
No, me neither.
Right. And then even if he takes kind of a back seat, gets 50 yards a game, he's still well over. Rondale Moore could be consistent. Hell, I could even see AJ Green surprising us with that not having a lot of big games, but just kind of being that steady constant. So we'll see. All right. Okay. So this one has been fun. Okay. Both sides, right? We both had kind of the flip side of the coin of this. What is your next spicy, bold prediction for the season?
Okay. I'm staying on offense, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have anything to back this up or any reason to truly believe this. But here it is, and you can tell me if it's spicy or not. I think Kyler Murray will throw less than 10 interceptions this year and will increase his overall passer rating by at least 10.
Okay. I like that a lot. I think that's a little spicy. I think Kyler is a pretty accurate passer, but sometimes something happens. He gets jumpy.
Yeah.
Something happens and he gets just a few of those interceptions like the one to Nick Vigil, last year.
They come in bunches for him.
They do.
When he gets in his head, he definitely starts throwing them. But when he is on his game, he is at least a top 10, top 5 most accurate passer. And he was the leader in completion percentage for most of last season until he got hurt. Like he has the tools to take the next step into that Aaron Rodgers level of I just don't throw interceptions.
Yeah. So Ian's saying spicy, but Tyler likes to take risks.
He does. He's a gunslinger.
Yeah. Mr. Mono says spicy, but I love spicy food. Right. Medium to spicy. Kyler is a little too aggressive to get less than 10, I think. And I will say, depend on if the O-line blocks well, right? I will say this, and I don't like to overplay the whole Kyler short can't see over the middle thing because I think people make too much of a big deal of it. Because Russell Wilson that's like if you look at Russell Wilson's heat chart, he doesn't throw over the middle either, and he's been great. So I think people overemphasize that. It's a part of his game. Every quarterback has strengths and weaknesses, but I do think that it's not a non-factor. I just don't think it's a deal breaker factor, but it's enough of a factor that I don't know if I ever see him being that 7 interception, 35 touchdown kind of guy, because I just think there's going to be enough times in the season where he lets one rip over the middle and didn't quite see over the line enough, and it's going to mess up a few things. But but he's also not an 18 interception guy, right?
Yeah.
So
and I don't think he ever will be.
He's a 10 to 14 interception guy, right? Is what I think. And, but I like it though. I like it. I think that's a little spicy, but I like it. Right. Okay. So I think we got medium plus Gary D saying so I think
I'll take that.
I think people are leaning that one is on the medium to the spicy side of medium to spicy. So I think you've done good. That might be the most consistently spicy one we've had.
And I think that's it's medium to spicy. I'll agree with all of you because it's within the capabilities of Kyler Murray as a player. I don't think that's hard to believe because he is a very talented thrower of the football. But for the reasons you talked about, it's a multiple interception game. We've seen that happen time and again. It's a mental thing for him. And you can rack up 3 interceptions in a game, and we've seen him do it. So I get it. It's a little spicy, but he's capable of it, and he needs to take that next step into an elite passer, which he already is, but he can get better.
Yeah. Hey, Jalen, thanks for being here, Jalen Blair. Some of Kyler's interceptions be fluky, though. Like a lot of his tip passes get picked off. That seems to happen more to him than other quarterbacks. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, okay. And here we go. Jordan's saying that Kyler's increases passer rating each year by about 7 points. So, all right. I like it. Okay. This one might be a little bit out of left field, but we'll see. Real quick. I like this. Kyler will do a stunning touchdown celebration. I like it. If he did here, I'd be here for that.
I like that a lot.
Please do, Kyler Murray. I will have your back on that one, right? Trolling the clowns. All right. All right. I am predicting this is a bold take. I think it is. We'll see what you all think. The Arizona Cardinals defense will have more sacks in 2022 than they had in 2021. They had 41 total sacks in 2021. Yes, they lost Chandler Jones in his 10.5 sacks, but J.J. Watt only had 1 sack last year. I don't think he's going to be that unproductive. Mm-hmm. And I think between Watt and the rotation of young pass rushers, Dimakaji, the 2 rookies, Dennis Gardeck hopefully returning to form, I think between that rotation, they're going to more than make up for his 10.5 sacks and have more than 41 sacks this year. What say you, Kyler Burd? You going to answer that on phone on stream?
No.
Okay, so Mark says that's spicy, but Ian says mild. So I'm getting a mixed reaction. What say you?
I'm gonna go mild actually. I
Okay.
think with the rotation that we have, replacing the 10.5 sacks of Chandler Jones last year isn't an unsurpassable type of thing. And I agree, especially if you get a 17 games out of JJ Watt, which I doubt will happen. But if
Well,
you did,
get 15 games,
yeah,
14 games.
12, 13, 14 games out of JJ Watt, I don't think he will end with only one sack again. That was an outlier in his career. I just don't see that happening again. But replacing the two rookies to make up for 10.5 sacks with Chandler Jones, that's easily possible. And if Zach Allen takes that next step too, he had what, 4 sacks last year?
Maybe he gets 7 for an interior pass rusher.
7 and 5 from JJ, and then 4 to 5 each from Cameron Thomas and Myjai Sanders. Then you've already surpassed that number if Marcus Golden stays where he is. So I think it's mild. I don't even think it's that spicy. I think it's very possible.
With as much as many Cardinals fans have been kind of concerned about the pass rush, I thought that'd be a little spicier. So that's interesting. So let me get to some of the comments. Cattle Dog, thanks for being here. Remember, 5 of those sacks was in one game. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Gary D says medium spicy. Lord Dane is reminding us that he repeat his take from a previous stream that Watt gets 10 sacks and 50 pressures. Jalen Blair thinks mild. I think VJ will scheme up more and more run games and stunts. Okay, yeah. And Jordan P saying spicy DL is not very good aside from Watt and Vance may not play the rookies enough so much. Let's see. I think Ian Keller saying Jones is washed, and now we got young hungry dogs. I don't think Jones is washed, but I don't think he was what he wanted. We should have paid. That's just my opinion. But we've got Corey Saylor. Thanks for dropping in. Without a superstar like Chandler Jones, it all comes down to scheme. VJ has been talking about that most of the preseason. Yeah. And one of the things about VJ they say is that he's good at dialing up those rushes. I mean, and when Chandler Jones has gone down with injuries and such, you've had players like Hassan Reddick and Dennis Gardeck step in, right? So,
well, in 2020, with Chandler Jones out, the pass rush was more efficient. I think VJ has the creativity with drawing up blitzes. That is probably his number one strength as a defensive coordinator. He definitely has some coverage issues. Throwing people like Chandler Jones into coverage is kind of foolish, but he does it sometimes. But he is capable of dialing up an efficient pass rush, and I think he's capable of doing that without the superstar X factor Chandler Jones.
Yeah,
you can do that with other players and get a good rotation going. And if Dennis Gardeck even comes up to half of what his efficiency was in the 93, 94 sacks that we saw in 2020, then he's going to be a productive part of the pass rush as well. So there are just a lot of guys, but they're not the guy this year.
I did a video last year about Dennis Gardeck, and it might be, if anyone's interested, it might be worth going back and watching. It's a little bit older, but I looked at that season when he had that 7.5 sacks or whatever, and I looked at statistically how abnormal that was and how anomalous it was. His efficiency was crazy, and I projected like how many sacks he would have had if he maintained that kind of productivity over like a full-time load. It was ridiculous. But I also looked at
93 snaps.
Yeah, it would have been like 50-something sacks over a full-time load. It's not realistic. But I also looked at each sack individually, looked at the film. It's an older video. It's called What the Gardeck. See what I did there? But anyway, it's worth a watch. I think it's one of the better videos I think I've done in terms of analysis. But I think the Cattle Dog what the Cattle Dog here says is kind of how I see it. 4 to 5 players with between 6 and 8 sacks, guys like Zach Allen, the rookies, Dimikaji. Dimikaji looks so good in the preseason. I know it's against backups, but he didn't look this good last preseason. I think he could be really, really a big factor. And then one guy with 10, Marcus Golden, or maybe, JJ Watt, right? So so we'll see, right? Real quick, we've got can we get a Hard Knocks prediction? Okay, that's an interesting one. Do you have any Hard Knocks predictions there, Kyle, I just drop a dead fish in your lap.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm predicting.
I predict it will be entertaining.
I do think it'll be entertaining. It'll be fun to watch something like that again. And I think that this team will take it as added motivation rather than a distraction. Or they're just professional and won't care too much that there are cameras around. There are cameras around like every day of their life. So
this is a good one. Who will be the star of Hard Knocks?
Buda Baker.
Buda Baker. Okay.
Yeah, he's got the personality. He's gonna pop off as the star.
I think they're going to follow JJ Watt, but I'm going to give a guy who I think is going to be kind of a little bit of a surprise star. You know how there's always the big name star that they follow, but then there's the lesser known player who just based on personality is like, whoa, right? Mm-hmm. Who's this guy? Myjai Sanders.
Okay.
Myjai Sanders has an interesting personality, and if you listen to like him when he's mic'd up, he just keeps talking. He's kind of funny and interesting. So that's my kind of dark horse there for kind of the star. There's a lot of entertaining folks, right? I mean, DJ Humphries.
It's funny. Yeah.
Funny, right? Listen, Cliff, you think Cliff will come out in a positive light? I think so too, actually. I think, he knows he's personable. Tweezy's supposed to be really funny, right? Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it. I'm not saying he is. I just haven't had a chance to see it, but I've heard people say he is. Right. Mark Jackson agrees with you, Buddha or Golden, right? McSorley will be the star, right? He has his own rap song, right? So yeah, let me say, hey, also Jason Krell, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Nice to see you too, or your name. I don't get to see you, but thanks for being here. Appreciate that. But we got Paul G who just dropped in. Thank you for being here. Late to the party. I was doing Cardinals history. Paul's writing for Raising Zona and also has a forum where he does some really great Cardinals history. So definitely check out his stuff. So yeah. Okay. Golden. Everyone's saying Golden is holding in. I don't know if he is or not. And someone asked earlier, do we think Golden is going to play? I think he'll play when it comes time. I think he'll be ready to go. What do you think, Kyler?
I think so too. I think most of the injury stuff that Cliff has talked about is the coach stuff.
Yeah.
He is not required to put out an injury report until tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. So he's not gonna. He's gonna let his opponent keep guessing, and I think that's mostly what's going on.
Yeah, and they're saying it's a quote unquote toe, and Jordan, Marcus Golden Dad tweet like saying pay Marcus Golden, and I get that. He deserves more. I saw the tweet that Golden sent out, underpaid, underappreciated, underrated, but still and I think Golden. I don't think there's going to be a hold in or a holdout situation with Golden. I don't think he's going to do that. And if there is a money concern, I think they're going to get something worked out before that.
Yeah.
Maybe listen, if I'll admit I'm wrong, if it doesn't go that way, I just don't get the sense that that's going to happen with Golden. We'll see. Right. So anyway, all right, real quick. I want to just mention, speaking of bold predictions, Kyler wrote a great article on azsportsunderground.com. Link in the description below to the article and to the website, a website that Kyler and I have launched. A lot of great content. Some of the folks in the stream here are writing for us. There's some other great folks that we've added. We keep adding new wonderful writers. Just added Jackie, who's doing a great job. Just some of the folks who are in here. So anyway, check out his article. Link is below. 3 bold predictions. 2 of them are ones he mentioned tonight, but he's got a bonus one in there that he didn't mention. So there's the hook there, right? Check out Kyler's article and check out all the other great content on azsportsunderground.com, the official sponsor of TCR Live. It's right. It's the sponsor of the show, except I'm co-owner of the site, but sponsoring myself. How much am I paying myself for this sponsorship, Kyler?
We'll have to discuss it.
Yeah, right. A big zero, but but hey, we're really proud of the site. So please check it out. And we cover not just Cardinals. There's content on other teams, although admittedly it's Cardinals heavy because that's the time of year and that's who most of our writers are. But we got some stuff on Suns and Diamondbacks. Mark Jackson, who's in the chat, does some great stuff on the Diamondbacks and the Coyotes, right? So Yeah, Golden's going to play. Can't keep him off the field. So check out the article. And the next thing we're going to talk about is the depth chart. So we, they put this out. We saw this earlier. The depth chart for this week or for the game has been posted. And there's a lot of interesting things on here, right? So what stands out to you, Kyler, and anyone in the chat, if anything about the depth chart stands out to you, please be sure to put that in the chat. Let me get this one last hot take from Jordan real quick. My hot take for the season is Will Hernandez and Mullen have great seasons, get multiple year extensions. Mullen, I like that. I actually almost had Will Hernandez in the Pro Bowl as one of my hot takes. Man. I think he's going to be really good I think he's going to have a resurgence. We'll see, right? All right. Kyler, when you looked at the depth chart for the upcoming game, what stood out to you?
Yeah, two main things. Running back, that second spot, the backup spot, Eno Benjamin or Darrell Williams. Okay. Interesting.
Right.
Because the or muddies it a little bit. Is Eno Benjamin the number 2 running back, or is he not? Or are they just not willing to not have the guy that they just signed this offseason be the number 2? Who knows? But I like that, and it also kind of points to what I was saying. Running backs are going to get a lot of split carries. James Conner is not going to be the every down back, just like he wasn't last year at Chase Edmonds. You got other guys to fill that role, like Williams and Benjamin. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, outside linebackers, weird. Mm-hmm. Weird. The backup for Marcus Golden is on the practice squad, Devon Kennard, and both of the rookies are last. Both Myjai Sanders and Cameron Thomas are third string at their position, and Dimkeji is a second string. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that has a meaning behind it, or it's just outside linebacker is going to be a heavy rotation, so the string number doesn't matter that much type of thing. But it really is weird to see practice squad guy be your second string outside linebacker. That's odd, and I don't like it.
Yeah, that, and Darren Urban tweeted that out, right, about that, and I think that's interesting. And if you follow how these rules have changed, in the COVID era, they've expanded the practice squad and made the rules made it a lot easier to call players up. I think you can. Darren Urban again tweeted out something, said you can call players up 3 times and send them back down the practice squad over the course of the season. Beyond that, you've got to sign into the roster. And, when Devon Kennard was signed to the practice squad, I had a feeling it'd be something kind of like this, where it wouldn't shock me if, one of the rookies doesn't suit up, right? Because they don't have all 53 players active for game day, right? Yeah. So it wouldn't shock me if one of the rookies doesn't suit up and Devon Kennard is active, right? So that is interesting, right? It's interesting though to have him on the depth chart as a player in the practice squad, which is signaling that they're going to bring him up, right? Or activate him. So absolutely. So it's very interesting. For me, and I think the running back thing is interesting, Eno or Darrell. So they're going to rotate those guys apparently, so that's very interesting. This is a less kind of this one's a little more minor, but it's interesting to me. Ezekiel Turner as that backup to Isaiah Simmons ahead of, and I guess they do say or, so I guess it could be interchangeable, but as the first name on the Tanner Vallejo, Ben Neiman, I guess it's more with the Tanner Vallejo. I would have expected, I've always thought kind of, Ezekiel Turner, special teams ace. They've talked about how he's gotten better as a linebacker, but he was a safety in college, right? Who's plays now linebacker and special teams. And I was a little surprised to see him listed first. Maybe they see it as a tie, but even that's surprising to me. I would have figured Tanner Vallejo, who's more of a true linebacker, would have been ahead. So that's a minor one. and then I'll just the Dennis Gardeck thing took me first. I was a little surprised by that too. I had heard he was ahead on the depth chart, so it wasn't surprising today. But when I first saw it, because in the Discord I've been talking about this, Dennis Gardeck played almost exclusively on passing downs in the past, and he's smaller. And I had assumed that, like, let's say Victor Dimukeje would be the starter, and meaning the guy who plays on the first snap of the game. Yeah. But then they would use a rotation and maybe Victor Dimukeje more on running downs. I still think that we're going to – I just have this feeling that even though Gardeck's listed as a starter, as the game progresses, we're going to see him not a lot on those running downs. But that was interesting. So I'll throw some comments up real quick, say hey to some folks, and let you kind of respond to that, and we'll give any other thoughts. But we got Brian, L1 gentlemen, awesome to see you. Was at my daughter's volleyball game. Sorry, I'm late. Hey, family first, dude. So thank you for being here, Brian. What are your thoughts on that?
On Dennis Gardeck?
Dennis Gardeck and Ezekiel Turner and anything else, yeah.
I'm not entirely surprised that he's the quote unquote starter there, but I do see your point about him being more of a passing down type of guy. Victor Dimukeje seems to have the physical makeup to be a better run stopper than Gardeck, but that looks can be deceiving. So I'm not too surprised there. I'm still surprised that it's not Devon Kennard. That was still kind of like the surprise of the last few weeks that Kennard isn't the starting outside linebacker opposite Golden. I'm just surprised that the rookies are buried at the bottom, but
yeah, that's a little surprising too, I think. But not like
it feeds in so much to the image of Vance Joseph as a doesn't play rookies type of guy. I'm gonna lean towards thinking that the outside linebacker ranking per se in the depth chart isn't something that we need to go crazy about because it is supposed to be so rotational. So I think they're going to get playing time. You just have to put people in spots like this for a depth chart, whether you like it or not. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna completely freak out about it, but I do think it is weird for sure.
Jordan's saying, Gardeck has graded well against run. He's not bad. He's deceptively strong, but I will also note, I'm looking at his PFF grades. He's graded okay against the run, like in the 60s, and 1 year he had 71.8, but he's still not played. It's a little bit of a small sample size.
Yeah.
In his career, he's had 51 run defense snaps versus 181 pass rushing snaps, right? So, yeah, he's not necessarily bad, but he also doesn't play a lot against the run. So, yeah. So, this depth chart is from their website, so I think it's an official one. Maybe they might change it before game time. So I guess it depends what you mean by official or unofficial. It's official from the organization. I don't know if they're going to change it. If some players are injured, right? Corey's asking who are they cutting? They're not necessarily cutting anyone. If there's a player who's down with COVID, or a player who's they're going to add to the IR, or they can call up to or they can call players up and send them down. It's one of the new rules they added, right? Mm-hmm. Had a couple comments about Guidry, being behind. Matthew was surprising. Guidry might be too new. That was a little interesting to me because Guidry, though, has more playing experience in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I was a little surprised. I would think that, Christian Matthew looked good in the preseason, but he's still a 7th round rookie. So I thought maybe we'd see more a Guidry ahead of him. So that was maybe also a little surprising there. Right. Omar's happy we brought back Devin Kennard. And listen, I'm glad he's on the practice squad. He's a good veteran. He's solid. And, I think his time with us is not done. And and I'll say this also goes for the question about what are we going to do when Hopkins and, Tweezy are back, and what are we going to do with the 5 running backs? When you have these kinds of roster questions right now, like those things tend to work themselves out as the season goes on, because like when it's time for Hopkins to be back, the odds are, and I hate to project injuries, but the odds are someone else is going to get injured and is going to be on the IR at least short term, right? So like, I don't know, like people are like, who are we going to cut when it's time to bring back, right? Hopkins. Well, I'm like, we might not have to cut anyone. Maybe we will, but we might not have to, right? Because someone else might go on IR. You know, running backs get banged up. Other players get banged up. You know, at some point they can only call up Kennard for 3 games with these rules. So if he's going to play more than 3 games, they have to sign him to the active roster. But someone's probably going to get banged up, and there's going to be a spot, right? So, you know, not going to worry about that for now, right? So we're going to kind of work our way out of here because I got a draft in 9 minutes that I don't want to miss. That's why we started early. If you missed that, so while we kind of wrap up, Kyler, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you, what you're working on right now, and anything you want to mention as we're heading on our way out.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys can always find me on Twitter at @azcard_birdseye. Super active there. Like to talk about the Cardinals. Also running the AZ Sports Underground Twitter. So interact with that and follow us on Twitter if you can. And like we mentioned earlier, AZ Sports Underground is just the new venture between Joe and I, and we've had a lot of fun growing it. We're adding writers and getting a lot of Cardinal content on there right now. So if you're in this stream, you obviously care about that. Go take a look at that stuff because it's not just content from Joe and I. It's from a great group of people, a lot of who are in this chat as well. So if you go over there and support these independent Arizona sports content creators, that would just be a really special thing. And I'm also contributing for the All Cardinals Fan Nation, associated with Sports Illustrated now. So first article of that went out yesterday. So just another thing that I'm doing as well. So doing a lot of Cardinals stuff and so excited for the season to start. It's been so long.
You and me both. Yeah. I'm going to tell you where to find me, and then we'll maybe take just a couple quick questions on our way out. And I think we'll add 2 or 3 questions that just popped in here, and then we'll get out of here. Obviously, you can find me, the Cardinal Rule. Hopefully you found me. You're here. You can find me on Twitter at JoeCamo13. My links are down below. You can find me on azsportsunderground.com. And tomorrow night, I'm actually going to be a guest at 6 p.m. Arizona time, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, 6 p.m. Arizona time on the Burd Red Zone podcast. If you're not familiar with them, I will on my community tab, I will send out a link to that, and I'll put it on Twitter. I'll push it out on Twitter. But it's a great podcast. It takes a little more of an irreverent look at Cardinal stuff. It's a little more of R-rated audience. But I'm going to be joining them tomorrow night to talk Arizona Cardinals at 6 o'clock Arizona time. So check me out there. So let's take a couple quick questions and we'll get out of here. So what pick do I have in the draft? So I have the 4th pick, which means I didn't do well last year, but it was a lottery.
Hey, that's a good spot.
Yes. Now I will tell you, this league's a little different. They don't do a serpent draft. It's 4th each time around, which is a little different. Listen, I'll take it though. Like I'm 4th each time around. Anyway, and it's also a keeper league. So like I have Justin Jefferson, Eli Mitchell, and Aaron Jones already on my roster.
Nice.
So I'm set up pretty nice there. So that's the question there. Real quick, want to say, hey, thanks for being here, Lance. Appreciate you, Lance. You guys rock. Hey, you rock too, Lance. Great member of our community here. Jose, thanks for being here. Elbow cough football time. That's right. Brian, if Vance doesn't give these rookies a chance, this pass rush fails. Well, maybe, I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, I hope we give them a chance. Dan talks football. Thanks for being here, Dan. New to the channel. Question: why has this line skyrocketed against Arizona? Was +2.5, now +6. I don't do a lot with betting stuff, but I'm gonna, obviously, if a line changes that much correct me if I'm wrong. From what little I understand, it's usually one of 2 reasons. Either something has significantly changed in terms of injuries or who's playing, which doesn't seem like it has. So I don't think that's it. Or the betting action, right?
Yeah.
When a lot of the betting action comes in on one side or the other, they shift those lines. I don't do a ton of betting stuff, so I'm not an expert in that. So forgive me if it's not the most informed answer you've heard of. So maybe a lot of people thought that line was too modest, and they were taking, I guess, I don't know, if it was 2.5 up to 6, they would have been taking the Chiefs then, maybe, right, for the over or for the win there. And then so now if a lot of the money was coming in on the Chiefs, maybe they pushed that line out to balance it. Does that sound right, Kyler?
Yeah, from my understanding, that's what I would attribute it to as well, because I don't think that Vegas knows anything about some secret injury that's going to completely derail our chances of winning the game. I think it's just a lot of money's flowing in for week 1, and a lot of money's flowing to Kansas City. I mean, they've been to 4 straight AFC championship games. It stands to reason that they would win the game if you're not a Cardinals fan and just betting on games trying to make some money. So I would bet money's just flowing in on the Chiefs.
Yeah, and that's what Catalog's saying here. Brian saying bad cornerback room, weak pass rush is a recipe for disaster. It could be. I'm hopeful we'll do better than that, right? But we'll see. And Dio, love you guys. Love you all. Go Cards. Thank you. Listen, everyone, thank you for being here. Follow Kyler on social media. Check out his article. Check out the website. Follow me on social media if you aren't already. Please click like on the video. That always helps. If you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Exactly. Vegas was talking. Dude, I'm excited for some football now.
So good. I'm even excited for Thursday.
Right, for sure. So we're going to get out of here because my draft starts in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. It's literally getting ready to start. What we're going to do is, as we always do, we're going to put up the shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I am excited for season 2 of TCR. Check out all the links below. Subscribe. See y'all later. Peace.